Hello, this is Mad Cat, and welcome to another edition of Boobs and Dicks Smash the Matriarchy. As always, I am Boobs.
You're Boobs now?
Yes, I am Boobs.
I'm Dicks. I am the biggest dick in this room.
I think you have me you have yourself selected right now.
I don't have a box around it.
Okay, no, it's my system messing up. So, yes. Welcome to another edition of Boobs and Dicks, where I am apparently now Boobs and she's Dicks. Let's see how our fans like that. We have a special show today, but our guest, Rachel, has had a last-minute thing come up, so she's going to be a little bit delayed on coming onto our show. So we're going to kind of do a normal show for right now until she shows up, and then we'll talk to her about her special project and the bias that she showed a lot of people they have. It's a really interesting thing. So once again, for those who don't know, my channel got revoked for live streaming for a reason that YouTube has yet to name, but it's probably in relation to all of the advertisement that they've been losing lately. And Modern Medusa has been kind enough to let me use her channel. So I want everyone out there to not only say thank you to Modern Medusa for giving me a channel, but to give her $5 each.
Sweet.
Because she deserves it. She is a very good person. She deserves our love.
Well, hey, I mean, I'm still selling GIFs on Twitter. $5. Check it out, bro. But someone asked, "What's this stream about?" We kind of just explained that.
Your chat's working. Mine isn't. Let me refresh. Well, these streams normally are dealing with the stupid shit that feminism does. So, I mean, that's really what this is about. But once our guest comes on, we can go ahead and talk to her about her specific project. I don't want to reveal anything right now, but trust me, it's really good. Oh, there, now it's working. Want me to take off my shirt? Well, you know, if that's what the audience want, can I get a little stripper music?
Oh yeah. Hot shit.
Oh hairless God. God, I need some sun. Look at how white my body is. I am topless.
Right. Someone donate $100 and I'll take my shirt off. That's not gonna happen. Anyways. Yeah, so we got some articles to read.
Right, so,
yeah.
Yeah, while we write, let's go ahead and look at some articles to pass the time. Oh, let's watch this again. See how well I did. Never dare me to do something. Usually I'll do it. Alrighty, all right. That's enough torture for people to have to watch it a second time. All right, so this is nothing new, but once again, a female celebrity is making the same sort of thing, and it's just bullshit as always. Janelle Monáe, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, I just assume, wants to ban sex until all men support women's rights. Janelle Monáe is putting pressure on men who don't support women's rights. The singer and actress told Marie Claire, "People have to start respecting the vagina." Oh, wait, maybe I should talk like a black woman. People have to stop respecting the vagina.
Oh my
Until
God.
every man is fighting for your rights, we should consider stop having sex. I love men, but evil men, I will not tolerate that. I'm waiting for a flood of people to say that I'm racist.
Well, I mean, you needed to sound more ghetto, but what? It's hard for me to see right now. Would you say people need to respect the vagina?
Yeah.
Yeah. People have to start respecting the vagina. There we go.
I'm sorry, I was giving her a little bit more class. I mean, maybe I shouldn't, but, you know, I wanted to be nice while being racist.
Bitches! Respect my vagina. I swear to God. Should be going in and out. I don't know what's going on.
The Hidden Figures and Moonlight Star continued. If you're going to own this world, and this is how you're going to rule this world, I am not going to contribute anymore until you change it. Monet is no stranger to putting it out there. Bow chicka bow wow. Last month she tweeted, "Menstruation period blood, Women's History Month."
What?
Okay. I don't know why women are proud of the blood that comes out of their vagina every month.
I'm pretty sure.
That's like me being proud of the crap that comes out of my ass every day.
So, okay. She literally just tweeted that to, like, make men cringe.
I don't know.
I'm guessing, which is pretty gay.
Some thank her for normalizing periods. Ties her comments as TMI. I hate to tell you, but periods are normal. Just because I don't want to hear about your period doesn't mean that I'm like, that's evil. No, take it back. It's normal, okay? I don't want to hear about someone being on the toilet taking a shit. That doesn't mean that shitting is not normal.
Exactly.
According to Melissa's Carly, the vagina is overrated.
I agree. Well, I mean, they're nice. They're nice, but not all of them. Not all of them are nice. You gotta find the good ones.
Monet made a political observation about the controversy, following up with a tweet that said, "It's sad that there are probably folks more grossed out by and or ashamed of menstrual period blood than they are the current administration."
What? Nobody is shocked.
You know what? I have problems with the current administration, but at least when I see it, I can stomach it. I don't want to see blood. Why is that such a big deal?
Okay, yeah, that doesn't smell like shit. And what? There's no comparison. It's like feminists love to make stupid fucking like random. I don't understand.
You know, I'm quite certain that if everyone loved that women menstruated, which would be a horrible world to live in, but let's say it happened, then feminists would start complaining like, no one likes it when women take a shit. We need to normalize that. We need to show it so everyone can see it. One thing is another to try to get to people under their skin. Monet is one of 5 fresh faces in Marie Claire's May issue, and she's certainly a fresh voice as well. She's not a fresh voice. I don't know what this is about Bill Murray, but I mean, she's saying what many feminists have said, that you need to, all women should give up sex in order to get men to do what you want them to do, which is sexual coercion. Which is funny because feminists are the first to say that it's men who engage in sexual coercion. That it's men who try to get sex from women. And in this case, we see that it's women who are using sex as a way to get something from men. Now, we always know are doing this constantly. But then they will deny it that they're not doing it. This is openly admitting, let's use sex as a weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
And apparently I'm a sex symbol.
Who's a sex symbol?
Thank you, chat.
Oh, yeah.
And reading Ren tells us that periods equals gross. I agree on that one. I mean, look, you know, it's a natural function that happens. You're not pregnant. The technology to deal with it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know when a girl is on her period. It's bad enough Vanessa tells me.
Bro, I don't have periods. Shut the fuck
up. Yes, and you let me know that all the time.
Damn right. I'm really happy that I don't have periods. I thank my vagina every day. Oh God, someone in the chat said periods equal protein.
Well, no. And then someone also said that North Korea is menstruating.
Probably.
So yeah, I think this is nothing more than feminists trying to many people as they can while raising the banner of women's rights, and that all men are evil. That's all this is. I mean, if they really stop to think about it, I mean, they wouldn't want it to be discussed in open public.
Well, it's funny too, because like, you know, I've never heard of this person. Who knows how many followers they have? Who knows how many of them are actually gonna like buy that shit? That doesn't.
Let's
that's not gonna
find out. Let's see how many followers this actress and singer that none of us have heard of. 796,000 followers, but she's only following 273, which tells me she's a huge cunt. I mean, Mercedes has a lot of followers, granted, but she still follows like, you know, 10 to like 100,000 people. Damn. I mean, she does actively interact with her people, but when I see this kind of disparity, my first thought is, what a cunt.
Uh-huh. What's funny is that like I'm still following more people than people are following me on Twitter.
So let's go ahead and move to our next article. Mom gave children drugs and made false abuse claims, judge says. So a mom who was arrested on suspicion of abducting her 2 children after being found in a hiding near Ollerton, I believe that's in the UK, had previously given the children drugs and made false allegations of abuse against their father. Judge Jeremy Leah issued a statement at a hearing at Nottingham Family Court today, detailing the facts of the case involving a 40-year-old woman, Samantha Baldwin. He said that as a result of some very helpful coverage in the mainstream media, a tip-off from a member of the Public Enhanced Police to find the boys, but he also said that there had been much ill-informed speculation in some sections of the media. Today, Judge Leah released a statement which said, "This began as a private family law case between a mother and father. They had separated. They had been in dispute over the amount of time their 2 boys should spend with their father. In December 2014, the mother alleged that the father had sexually abused his sons. The father adamantly denied that he had done so. The police investigated, Given the seriousness of the allegations, all contact between the father and his son stopped. There was a fact-finding hearing to decide whether the allegations were true before me in February 2017. Wow. So he did not see his children from December 2014 to, well, that's when it stopped, and then the case didn't go before the judge until February 2017. That's nearly 2 years. My God. No, well, no, I guess that's over 2 years. It's near, yeah. I heard evidence over 12 days. I heard from the mother and the father, both who experienced senior counsel to represent them, and 14 witnesses. I had regard to over 2,000 pages of document. I heard oral submission from the advocates of the evidence I received. I made a prohibitive step order against the mother with her consent that she would remain living at her stated address with the boys. I reserved judgment to Monday, March 27th. So even though he heard all of this information, he decided to deliberate from February to basically the end of March. In the middle of delivering my judgment on that morning, the mother abruptly left court. It is now apparent that she picked up her sons from an unknown location and disappeared with them, putting her breach of the court order. I don't believe it specifically says what his ruling was, but it sounds like it was that the father did not sexually abuse the children, based on this response. The police are investigating how she did this, and I make no further comment, save that it is my assessment that it was plainly pre-planned and carefully executed. The mother intended to prevent the court from taking decision as to the arrangement that should be made for the boys in light of the findings. I made a number of specific findings in my judgment. At the beginning of that judgment, I set out respective position of the parents in these terms. Maybe it does. A calamitous case. The two boys that I'm concerned with have either been grossly sexually abused by their father, members of the father's family, and a number of his male friends. My God! Accused him of? That not only he, but his family and his friends sexually abused the boys?
What the fuck?
Damn. Or, in all probability, they have a false belief that he, his family, and friends have done so. On either basis, the consequence for the emotional and psychological well-being of these boys will be catastrophic. Well, that's true. In my judgment, I found that the father had not perpetrated sexual, physical, or emotional abuse against the boys as alleged by the mother. That kind of surprised me that he did rule that, but I guess there are a lot of good witnesses. Or at all, that the alleged allegations made by the mother were false. I also found that the mother genuinely believed that he had done so, but that her belief was irrational and that the evidence of the abuse was unreliable. I don't believe she truly believed that. I think she knew she was making it up to get what she wanted, especially since she left the court and kidnapped the boys despite a court order. That speaks to premeditation. And if she was doing premeditation on the outcome of what the case could be, that tells me that she knew that it was a lie when she made those charges against her husband, his family, and his friends. I mean, if it was like, well, she believed it to be true if it was just the father doing it, okay, maybe. But to go to such an extent of saying, well, it was his father, and their father took them to their family, and they all had sex with them, and then he invited his friends over, and that's just excessive. I mean, that accusation alone right there should have been like an indicator that this was made up. And he still went like 2 years before it even came before a judge. And it sounds like from this, he still hasn't seen his own children. That should have been a huge red flag right there. But when it comes to men possibly raping someone, that's taken very seriously. But once again, we live in a rape culture where rape is normalized. I also made a finding. You want to say something?
No, I'm just laughing.
I also made a finding that in order to try to prove her case against the father, the mother had caused the boys to ingest substances that would give rise to a positive test for, I can't read that product, benzodiazepine products of zolpidem. Someone in the chat knows what those products are. Please list it. But I mean, she gave them drugs to make it. So I guess what she was trying to do is like, yes, the father drugged the boys, and then she gave the drugs to the boys just so they would have a positive test for drugs in their system. That is really messed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not uncommon in contested family proceedings that one side, and occasionally both sides, are of the opinion that the judge's decision was wrong. It is open to such a party to ask the judge himself or the Court of Appeals to give permission to appeal against the decision. What is not acceptable is for a party to attempt to obstruct the court's decision by removing children, as I am satisfied that the mother did. There was understandable concerns given my findings as to what the mother might do. I made a recovery order empowering the police to find and keep the children safe. I authorized the release of the names of the mother and the boys to assist the police to find. The mainstream press and media gave some very helpful coverage. As a result, a tip-off from a member of the public enabled the police to find the boys. They're now in an interim care of local authority. Still, not with their father, who has been cleared of sexual charges. I mean, right now, they're dealing with a whirlwind of issues that all the abuse that their mother has given to them, and the fact that she kidnapped them and went on the lam. Wouldn't they need, like, you know, a parental figure there? I'm sure they want to see their father. But nope, put them in interim care. I now have to decide what care arrangements have to be made in the best welfare interest of these boys. Put them with their father. They could not immediately return to the father. I'm very concerned as to the impact of the continued press and media intrusions into their lives. Why can't you put them with their father? I mean, the only way I could see where you can't put them with their father is that the mother poisoned the boys so much, and I mean that in a metaphorical sense, that their father was just such a bad person that they don't want to see him. That's about the only way I can figure that you wouldn't want to return the boys back to their father, that they need to be counseled and that they need therapy to deal with the trauma that they've dealt with under their mother. But even then, I'm still like, God, this system was fucked up, because if it was the other way around, they would return the boys immediately to their mother. Because there's this concept that women have more paternal instinct than a father does. And that is such bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, check the chat real quick. A slow reintroduction. They need to be protected from much of what's been inaccurately reported about their parents and about what has happened to them. I deliver this judgment in open court to summarize my principal findings. Any reporting should be limited to the facts set out in this judgment. Well, what you should have done is ordered that the boys be present in the court, or at least present at the courthouse. And given what your findings were, that she basically lied, you should have, like, maybe not foreseen that she would have taken them, but at least have someone of authority keep their eye on the boys just in case. It says that one of the drugs is a sedative and the other is a class of drugs used to tackle anxiety.
Okay.
Samantha Baldwin went missing with her 2 boys on Monday, March 27th. All 3 were found at Sherwood Hideaway Woodland Retreat on April 6th. Samantha was arrested by officers on the suspicion of abduction and was bailed on April 7th pending further inquiries. Her 2 children were placed in care of child care professionals.
Well, that's a pretty fucked up situation.
So maybe there is a reason. Reading Rain is talking about the slow reinduction, and maybe that's what's necessary in this situation, but I wish the article kind of spelled that out. Like, but the judge is even acting like, well, I don't know if they should go back to the father. Why the fuck not? And I can understand if they need to be, counseled first before they are reintroduced to the father, but I think that once that happens, they need to go back to their father because he's the victim in all this. The boys and the father are the victim in this because the mother was very selfish. And I don't care how much you care for your children. To give your children drugs just so they can pass a drug test, so your lie about them being raped is believed more.
It's pathetic.
Now, someone wants the link to this. Let me see if I can do it. I guess I do have that wrench, so there you go. There's the link to it. Well, we should be hearing from Rachel any time now, so
All right.
let me jump on Facebook. I don't want you people to see my Facebook, so
and I'm wearing
nipples are fine, but my Facebook, that's personal.
I'm wearing some lovely pinstripe stockings that a lovely anonymous lady bought for me on Amazon.
So you have women buying you clothes now.
Yes. I was super excited. But yeah, that's my wait, shit, what? Hang on. I was gonna send the wish list, but it's not letting me. What? Okay.
So I apologize
When
for
I
this
do
delay. I
send
really
it-
want this person to come on because what she did was so brilliant. And it was like we didn't even know what she was doing when she was doing it. So I want to... But my computer's like really, really slow. So
Really?
donate to my Patreon so I can get a better computer. Oh, yeah. Health insurance, too.
There you go. I posted the fucking Amazon wish list. I have more of these on there and all kinds of shit. And yesterday, if you didn't see the stream yesterday, I was in like a kind of a slave Leia costume. It's like different, but and cheap, but whatever. If someone buys me a fancy Leia costume, I'll wear that on the stream too.
Okay, so we're still waiting on her. We'll go on and move on to another article.
All right.
Pretty quick. Remember when like 3 articles took us 90 minutes to do?
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
were the
I
days.
sent you something. I sent you something in the side chat that someone wanted us to check out. You can just skim over it if you want and see if it's worth reading. But
Take a quick look at this. In Firefox back to back now because Chrome I have to use Google Hangouts for it, but I fucking hate Chrome.
Are you serious?
Oh wow, no, this is pretty good. Everyday feminism, but let's go ahead and take a quick look at this article because I'm just laughing when I see this. A woman is kicked out of a woman's shelter to make room for a transgendered man.
So I like how they put transgender in quotes. I think that's very problematic of them.
Well, this is Breitbart that's doing this article. And they're not complaining about it. They're just pointing out like the hilarity of it, as Breitbart's known to do. 2 women were kicked out of a homeless shelter to make room for a man because he said he is transgendered, a transgender woman. The women objected when they were told that they would have to share a bedroom and a live-in the shelter with the man, and so both were asked to leave the shelter for good, said the TV reporter. I was uncomfortable with my roommate being transgendered, said one of the women. He wants to become a woman. I mean, that is his choice, but when a man comes into a woman's shelter who still has a penis and genitals, he has more rights than we do. Canada's progressive law forbids discrimination against people who are trying to live as members of the opposite sex. That legal rule gives them legal authority over women and men who prefer to live, work, and socialize as their own sex. The Canadian law even backs men who are merely say they are transitioning and have not undergone sex change surgery. So that's why this is so funny, is that everyone was for Canada for having these laws that protected transgendered people. I mean, Lauren Southern even did a thing where she got a doctor to sign a waiver saying that she was now a man and went to, I guess, their equivalent to the DMV to get an ID that legally said that she was a man. And how easy of a process it was. And so many people said that this would be a problem, and those people were called transphobic. Mm-hmm. And now, well, this happened about a month ago, but now, you know, a man can say, I'm transitioning and go to a woman's shelter. And women have a problem with it. Well, he's still a man. Well, no, according to Canadian law, he's transitioning and has more rights than you do as a woman in a woman's shelter. Mm-hmm. So what's the saying? You can have your cake and eat it too?
Basically.
I mean, I'm glad this man can get help because when it comes to domestic violence, men tend not to get help, especially in Canada, which I believe they have fewer shelters for men than women do. And if I don't know if he's telling the truth or lying about his transitioning, but at least he's able to get help. So I'm happy for him. But these women have such a problem with it because all they see is a man, and under Canadian law, they're not allowed to. They have to see him as a woman because he says that he is transitioning. Mm-hmm. And then are asked to leave for being bigoted towards a transgendered person.
Good job, guys. Progressive.
Skills McStabby Pants. He says that this is a problem that's starting in California, at least in the mental health system. I'm not surprised by that, honestly. And I think right now Canada is starting to look like what America is going to start looking Mad Cat as Batgirl on stream for $300. Yes, I would dress up as Batgirl for $300. Hell, I'd probably do it for $30. That's how much I need money right now.
Don't tell them that. You can't sell yourself short.
It's people who claim to be a different gender than their actual gender. It creates a huge problem in Cali because they too stupid point out it's probably part of their mental health issues. Meh, I'm a tranny and homeless not too long ago. They put me in an area designated for LGBT folks. I feel sorry for you, Melissa. I don't think anyone should be sent with the LGBT folks, especially being trans. I hear they're not nice to trans people, in all honesty. I'm not like being joking there. I've actually heard that LGBT really doesn't like the T part of their name.
Yeah.
They were going to put me in with the guys, which was funny because I have a solid B cup. I would have got a kick out of it. I mean, I'm not against trans people in any ways. I 100% support trans people and their choice to do so, so long as it's actually a choice they're making and not one to feel special. And if this is the law in Canada, it's the law in Canada, but I laugh at them because so many women and progressive left in Canada pushed for this, and now it's biting women in the ass. And what's the progressive left going to do when trans and women have always been their meal ticket to try to get things changed in the world are now at odds with each other? Which one do they support more? And in the case of this homeless shelter, they supported a trans man more than women in a women's shelter. You know, maybe if we were more serious about shelters for domestic violence and homelessness, that we gave actual parity between men and women, we could actually start talking about opening up shelters for transgendered individuals. But since everything is women only, I mean, I kind of suspect that this guy might be lying, that he needed help and just said, and someone said to him, well, if you say that you're transgendered, then we have to take that seriously. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm transgendered if that's the only way I can get help. I mean, Canada writes the laws, you know.
I mean, good luck to them. That's all I can say, really. Like, it's just getting weirder as we progress. Progress, I guess. However you want to say it.
So this was the article that was sent to us, which I think is quite interesting. It comes from Everyday Feminism. So, need proof of rape culture. Here are 5 ridiculous things some men say when accused of rape. So this was about 2 years ago when this article came out. Irrelevant. So let's skip down to the 5 things. I'm the real victim here. Usually this means victim of a false rape accusation. But clearly Corey Beatty and his lawyers didn't have that option. There was video evidence. I guess they're talking about someone. Let's see here. 2013, 2 students at Vanderbilt University, Brandon Vandenberg and Corey Beatty, allegedly raped an unconscious female student on campus. They used a cell phone to capture footage, which also shows Beatty urinating on the victim and using racial slurs.
Hot.
Beatty's attorney said the football player from Nashville was influenced by campus culture of sexual freedom, promiscuity, alcohol consumption that contrasted with the manner of his upbringing. Yeah, that's some bullshit right there. The atmosphere changed the rest of his life, and Beatty was too drunk at the time to deliberately commit a crime, he added. Well, even then, I mean, if he had gotten into a vehicle and drove, I mean, and killed someone, he still would have been charged with vehicular manslaughter. The reasoning seemed to be that Bailey has somehow wronged by this university and its campus environment in a way that is relevant to the matter of his innocence or lack thereof. It seems like a convenient way of obfuscating, I can't read the word, the issue. Okay, so now we've got that. So they were thinking of the illogical excuses that people have made. I'm the real victim, false rape accusation, but Corey Beatty couldn't have said that. So it's funny here, they're talking about the 5 things that men usually say when accused of rape. But then they're tying it back to Corey. I mean, that just doesn't make sense here. He didn't say that he's the real victim here. So the second thing is she was asking for it. This, of course, is entirely self-contradictory. If someone was actually asking you to have sex with them, then it was not rape. If someone was not asking or consenting to have sex with you, then it was rape. Rape accusation, that means that they were not asking. Or if someone asked for sex and then later stated that you raped them, that's called a false accusation of rape. Not every accusation is an actual accusation. Many of them are false. Mm-hmm. The only way to actually ask is to have sex is to, well, ask for it. Not to dress sexy, not to dance or flirt with you, and not to make out with you. We all hear this excuse a lot with sexual harassment too, not just assault. The reasons I've used female pronouns is because typically only applies to female survivors. Why? Probably because women are presumed to be so irresistibly appealing that men cannot possibly restrain themselves. Therefore, those women were asking for it whenever it is the men did it. Sorry. Having difficult reading right now. But we didn't ask you to have such poor self-control that you cannot keep yourself from catcalling or raping us. I love how you put raping and catcalling on the same level there. I mean, Vanessa, when I catcall you, do you feel like I'm raping you?
Yeah. Usually.
Of course you'd say that.
Dang, it's almost 7 and he still haven't heard from Rachel?
Nope. I guess we won't be having that show today with her. Oh, well.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, I could do it next week.
So let's go ahead and finish this article, and then I want to read what that is saying right there, because it looks like it's pretty interesting. I was doing them a favor. Sometimes when women are not considered conventionally attractive, make a rape accusation. I actually think this is poorly typed up. Maybe that's why I'm having difficulty reading it. The alleged rapist claimed that they were doing the survivor a favor because no one else would have sex with them. It also sometimes happens in case of statutory rape, where the rapist claimed that they somehow helped teach the child or teen they assaulted and initiated them into adult sexuality. Some of the grossest narratives about adult women who seek out sexual relationship with boys involve the idea that these boys are lucky to be getting attention for older women who show them the ropes. Okay. But you're talking about two different issues here. One is the perpetrator feels like they're doing a special service to their victim. Then you're talking about how other people perceive that when an adult woman has sex with a young boy, that he is somehow lucky for having done that. Those are two completely separate issues. It would take pages to unpack all the horribly cruel and twisted logic here, but I have trouble believing that these rapists are just so incredibly selfless that they would, out of the kindness of their heart, have sex with someone that they have no interest in just to help that person out. But more to the point, this still denies that the person their right to autonomy. If they wanted sex with you, they'd be consenting. And just because you have such an inflated ego that you think that they should be thanking you doesn't mean that they actually should be. Oh, but there's a small kicker to that. If the person is underage, they can't consent to sex with an adult. Good on you just completely whitewashing that right there. I mean, you even bring it up that, you know, some people in cases of statutory rape feel like they're doing a benefit to the child, but then in your last little point here, you completely dismiss them as victims of saying, well, you should ask for it. Well, minors cannot ask for sex. It's against the law. The law does not recognize them as the ability to give consent. Number 4, I couldn't possibly have raped them because nobody would want to have sex with them. Okay, maybe these things are said, but probably in such a minority. These are the 5 things you think men say?
Right.
The excuse is frequently made by actual rapists who are counting on the fact that many people don't understand the difference between sex and rape and don't understand that rape is not caused by extreme sexual desire. By making the decision to take control of someone's body and autonomy. While some proportion of rapists are probably sexually attracted to the people they rape, I don't know this for certain as I've hardly done any scientific study of it or have done any actual study of rape as it is. If you think that these are the 5 things that rapists say, that's not a necessary condition. We know that rape is used as a way to punish and control people, especially but not exclusively women. I love how they keep like occasionally mentioning, oh yeah, men get raped too, but women a lot more. We know that corrective rape, raping a queer woman to try to convert her to heterosexuality, happens. Really? You have a special term for it? Corrective rape? Why not just rape? Why do we need a special term for it? We know that men who rape other men are not necessarily gay or bisexual. Okay. Rape is too complex an act to claim that it's ultimately about sex or about power or about violence. It can be about many different things depending on the situation. Yes, that is actually a very good statement, which surprises me. It's on everyday feminism, because feminism always says that rape is about power, about having power over someone else. And that's why it's not recognized as women who rape men as rape, because women don't have power in this culture, so they cannot rape a man. That is something I hear constantly from the feminist movement. And yet this right here says what's actually true. It's too complex to say that it's just about sex, it's just about power, or it's just about violence. There are a variety of reasons why rape occurs. all of them are bad, admittedly, but you can't say that it's all about power. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is before everyday feminism really got into the whole let's try to milk money out of everyone we possibly can by giving the simplest explanations possible. However, using someone's supposed sexual undesirability as a way to claim that you didn't do what they're accusing you of is not a good argument. Besides, there probably isn't a single person in this world who isn't sexually attractive to anyone. That's actually not true. There are people who are not sexually attracted to other people. We tend to call them asexuals, although some asexuals can still have desire other people, but some people simply just don't have sexual attraction. I thought feminism was about being inclusive to all people. And this little aside here, beauty standards exist, and they are sexist, racist, and otherwise oppressive. Topic to claim that because you personally don't find someone attractive, no one else does. Well, I mean, that's true, but I think you're kind of, you're just conflating a lot of things just to ramble on. Number 5, she's just upset that rejected her advances. Actually, that one I can believe, especially when you consider, Emma Sokowitz. But if you actually look at what actually transpired after she had sex with him, she kept texting him to want to have sex again with him, which he kept refusing. He didn't want to have sex with her again. And then eventually she claimed that he had raped her during that one time.
Wow.
Were not allowed to be introduced as evidence, you know, when he was being talked to by the college in the kangaroo court. It pretty much was, he rejected her advances, so she claimed rape. But this isn't something that's made up. This actually does happen. So it's kind of infuriating that everyday feminism's like 5 ridiculous things men say.
Yeah.
This, too, is almost directed at female survivors. Former Canadian radio broadcaster Jian Gomeshi famously used this excuse this past fall when multiple allegations of sexual and physical assault against him began to go viral. This narrative is useful for a few reasons. First and foremost, it allows the person accused of rape to deny any wrongdoings, except the occasional caveat that perhaps they should have been more gentle in how they let the poor woman down. It allows them to maintain a public image of desirability. They are so desirable, in fact, that being rejected by them apparently leads people to lose their minds with heartbreak and start throwing around wild accusations. Finally, it is highly believable for many people because it plays into the common trope about silly love-struck women, love-sick women, who can't handle breakups without going crazy. As it is so often with sexist stereotypes, research suggests that the reality is quite the opposite. Make men take breakups harder. Okay, but that has nothing to do with the issue of rape here, or the this is just a horribly written article. They open the door for one thing and try to lead it to connect to something else, to try to stuff as many issues in here about how bad and horrible men are. And how there's a rape culture when you conflate it with issues of so many other things.
Well, anyways, Rachel has joined us. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, and you guys?
Pretty good.
I'm outside here, so I hope it's not the wind isn't disturbing or the traffic's down.
Yeah. It's good.
It's a lot quieter.
You're a little bit low, but you're coming in good.
Yeah. Okay.
So how are you doing?
I'm sorry.
How are you doing?
Good. I like the microphone and the cleavage. That's really neat. That's that's a good trademark to have. I saw.
Don't know Rachel. She is someone that me and Modern Medusa know through Facebook.
Yeah.
She is a big proponent of men's rights. She does a lot of interesting posts on there about various things. I agree with, sometimes I don't, and I let her know, and we have a fun discussion about it. She doesn't care that I disagree with her as long as I respect her. So, and
I tend to
go ahead.
every time someone disagrees, I have a tantrum. You know? Liberal snowflake style.
Vanessa, when you're moving around, it's coming through on the microphone as moving noises. So if you could go ahead and mute your mic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So I wanted to bring you on today because you had performed an interesting, kind of a tricky little study. None of us realized what was going on. And then, you pulled the curtain back and you revealed a bias that we know exists, realize they have. So you want to go ahead and talk to us about what this whole thing was and how it went down?
Well, actually, it started as a confidence booster for all my friends on Facebook because in this day and age of social media, everybody posts selfies. It's just, it's a common thing to do when you're on social media. And it doesn't mean you're a narcissistic person. It's just like, with the invention of the iPhone and, camera everywhere, you can take a picture of yourself and it's just so tempting to post it. And amongst all those selfies, sometimes we have one that we really like, or we went for a professional photo shoot and this picture just makes me feel like I look good. And I just asked the women first, I said, would you mind sharing a picture of yourself where you feel really beautiful or sexy? And the pictures just came flooding in, of course, because us women, we have a lot of pictures of ourselves. And so, I had some really good pictures and I was really happy that we had the participation that we did. And a lot of men commented on there as well as women. A lot of women supporting women and a lot of men supporting the women as well. So then I believe there was 350 comments on that thread generated within 24 hours. And then I made a post for the men to post their pictures. Same thing. And I believe there were probably 150 comments in total by the end of everything. So, oh no, don't get me wrong here. I think I had 500 on the women's in the end. I think after a couple of days, it was like 500 comments. And then 150 on the men's. And so there was hardly any women commenting or men commenting at all on the pictures. And I was like, this is interesting because men often complain that women will not compliment them on their looks. They don't get cat calls. And I thought, well, here's an opportunity because my circle of friends, most of us are MRA, and, they're aware of this. So I thought, well, a lot of the girls are going to come for sure, and they're going to say something, but hardly anything. And the sad part is a lot of the women that got compliments didn't even show up on the men's thread. So the same men that complimented them, they didn't reciprocate or even like the guy's picture. And I thought, how sad is that? So it basically just shows that women will support women, men will support men, men will support women, but hardly anybody supports men. And I don't know if guys thought it was just silly to see other men posting pictures or what it was, but I was kind of down about it. I thought, man, I thought I would see a better turnout for the men's pictures.
Now, something that I remember when you had the big reveal, when you revealed that, hey, there's this disparity that we all know existed, but you just demonstrated, everyone demonstrated their bias.
Yeah.
Thing, and this is what really got me interested in this, because I actually did a study based on your results, which I'll reveal in just a moment.
Yes, you.
But the one thing I kept seeing was, and well, men are just more visual. They're more into visual stimulation. And there's this assumption that the reason why there was more likes and comments was that men were posting more for women than for men.
Right.
And what then compared to women for men, that women didn't need to see a picture to give a compliment. That's why women didn't do it. And that the reason why we received so many is because men just wanted to fill as many comments as possible.
Right.
And I wanted to know if that was true, if that was actually true or not. I actually crunched the data. I actually looked through all of the likes and comments that were made. And let me go ahead and hold on 1 second. So let me zoom this up a bit.
Yep.
So for the likes and comments, so the men, I believe the first set is for, oh wait, these are just percentage. So yeah, this was just for the women's side. I didn't really measure the men. Okay. But for the women, 197 men hit the like button on any picture that was presented there. I didn't include any additional comments thereafter. I just looked at the pictures. But 275 women hit the like button, indicating that 58% of the likes were done by women. And it was like 75 more women hit the like button than men did. There were only 2 people that I didn't know their actual gender. It wasn't obvious by looking at their picture, because it was like an obscure picture and their name like was a foreign name. I didn't know what it was. So, and then there was comments themselves. And men only commented on pictures 82 times, where women commented 198 times. So 71% of comments for female photos was women.
That's right.
So go ahead.
There was a lot of banter between women as well. There was a lot of complimenting from woman to woman, and just some playful flirting. From the women to the.
So the idea that, oh, well, just men are more like visual people, they.
Yeah.
That was just bullshit. That wasn't actually what was happening. And here are the 2 charts that we have here between likes and comments. So you can see the difference, the blue for men and red for women.
Right.
So what was the reaction that you got from when you made the big post about, hey, more women got likes and comments than men did? What was the reaction that people had to that?
I had a couple of guys calling BS on it when they saw it. I mean, even before they saw your results, because a lot of guys know that women aren't shy complimenting each other. And women are visual. I mean, come on. I mean, not to sound shallow, but I married my husband because he looks hot. So yeah, I'm visual too. A lot of people, I really got a lot of crickets on that one. I didn't respond to it because it's kind of like, oh, what do I say to that? Because you just brought up the statistics, you brought up the graph. What are they going to say to the proof? Nothing, So what other excuse are they going to say other than just being selfish and I just don't want to compliment anybody. I want the compliments. Or, you have to admit that women are more freely to compliment other women than they are men, or that men are more willing to compliment women than men. I mean, I'm not saying a dude has to compliment another guy on his looks. I mean, it's not, if they're worried about looking like they're not straight or whatever. I just don't see a lot of support altogether, like we were talking about a while back. You don't see men supporting men that much. Like, different topic, but same idea in regards to supporting another. If a man is homeless and he starts a GoFundMe or he's gonna be homeless and he starts a GoFundMe saying, hey, I gotta pay child support, I gotta pay alimony, I can't keep up, I just need a boost, and they start a GoFundMe, there's gonna be hardly anybody sending money. A woman, all she has to do is post a picture of her toenails on Instagram and guys are sending money.
Yeah.
Yet these same guys are not going to help another brother out. That's kind of what I was leaning into or leading up to with all this. It's not just complimenting one another, it's supporting my big beef with everything.
Well, and I've actually personally experienced that. I mean, I once started a GoFundMe because I was going to be homeless, that my family was going to kick me out.
Right.
And while I did get a nice amount of money, that was because there was just one person who was generous. But I only got 6 people to donate.
Right.
And then when I tried to raise money to get my book published, because I'm disabled and I wanted to do something so I could work and earn the money, but, you know, publishing a book costs money. Did it, I completely failed. The second time I did it, I didn't fail as bad, but I still got some money for it. And I did get 1 book out. I wanted to get 5 out, but I could only get 1 book out.
Yeah.
And then there are other people within the movement who were female who put like their own GoFundMe out and got more than enough money to do what they needed to do.
Right.
So there is an empathy gap. Even within our own movement that's supposedly about men, there's still an empathy gap between the needs of men and women.
That's right. And you also see men will be so quick to support a woman. Well, let's bring up Christina Hoff Sommers. She claims to be a feminist. She's never claimed to be anti-feminist. She's anti-third wave movement. That's about it. But she doesn't claim to be MRA. But all of these men in the men's rights movement, not all, but quite a few, will say, oh, you know, she's my hero. I'm going to follow this woman. Yet you take someone like Warren Farrell, who's done most of the research that she's milking off of, he barely gets recognition. And you throw a woman in the mix and the guys are going to follow. She doesn't even have to be men's rights activist. She just has to say, I feel sorry for men, I feel sorry for boys on such and such and such. Whereas a man can be donating all his time and money and any resource he has to help forward the movement, and there's barely any support.
Vanessa, do you want to comment on any of this?
I'm trying to listen. I'm like really exhausted right now, so it's kind of hard for me to comment or like form a thought at the moment. But I mean, you know, I contributed to the comments, you know, the on the lady version of the post or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely interesting. I know I got a few compliments.
There you go.
But how do you feel about the bias that Rachel was able to reveal, that when it came to men, so few men or women gave any compliments?
I mean, it kind of just points out what, you know, I already knew, you know, because men, I mean, you know, women are very supportive of other women in general, and it's less taboo for women to compliment women than it is for men to compliment men, or for women to compliment men because, you know, they might be like, oh, I can't compliment them, or they'll try and hit on me or something. You know, not in every situation, but you know, they could be thinking that, and
we heard that.
You know,
as
it
well.
is.
Yeah, as an excuse, we heard that one.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a legitimate excuse, though, but the reason why it's legitimate is because it's so rare to happen. You know, one thing that I talk about a lot on these shows is that, you know, men only hear compliments when they're in a relationship. Like, the only time I hear anyone compliment my looks, they want to have sex with me, when they want to be in a relationship with me. Outside of that, I hardly ever hear it. So I've come to believe that if someone compliments me, they want to have sex with me. But we overcome that is we start giving men compliments, but letting them know, this isn't me trying to have sex with you. I just want you to feel good. And maybe it takes a generation or two, but we got to keep giving men positive reinforcement until society as a whole realizes that it's possible to give men compliments without them thinking it's about sex. And on that one for creating the problem in the first place.
And I mean, feminism, it's not just men thinking that the woman wants to have sex, but feminism has all men are rapists, all men are just pigs, they just want sex. And so a lot of us get this notion, and we get this idea that, you know, don't even look at a guy, because as soon as you look, think, oh, she wants to have sex with me. And that's what we're taught. I even had that bias for a long time before I actually sat down and talked with men and said, is that true? If a woman just looks at you, because when you become friends with women, they'll say these things. Oh, you know, he's flirting with you because you gave him an eye. I'm like, an eye? What do you mean an eye? You know, so you get paranoid. It's like, well, I don't want to invite flirtation. So, I mean, there's that as well. And a lot of guys will tell you, well, that's actually not true. Just being friendly doesn't mean anything. It's body language. I mean, you're on social media. How can you see someone's body language when they're talking to you? How can you hear the tone of their voice?
Yeah.
They're winking at you. So it's really hard to see what their intentions are when you make a comment. That's why for me, I love emoticons. I love using quotations. Like, I try to get my point across so that, I mean, so people know I'm just joking around. I'm not serious. Some people take your comments really seriously when you're just making a joke. So I always make sure to throw in the winky face. Little things like that. I mean, but there's so much communication lost in social media. There's just so much, because for me, I observe someone's body language when I'm talking to them. And so if I can see that a guy is getting interested in me, I'll back off a bit and go, whoa, okay, whoa, dude, I'm not flirting with you. Whereas on social media, you can't tell. So for me, if I get an inbox from a guy, I just take it for granted. I don't right away think that he's trying to flirt with me. I'll just say, you know, maybe he just needs someone to talk to. Maybe he's going through some problems. He sees that I'm an MRI. Because there's that statistic too, where a lot of guys will say that they will hire a prostitute or go to a strip club, not for the sex, but to talk to a woman, just to have a woman listen. And so I'll always think, well, maybe they just need a woman to listen for once. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And if they are trying to become sexual with me, I say, hey, you know what? If they don't stop, then I block them. But 9 times out of 10, talk to.
Yeah, I have the exact same experience, basically.
And I've actually had the opposite experience happen to me, where, you know, like, if I go up to a girl just to be friendly, just to say hi to her, I've actually had a girl say to my face, I don't want to have sex with you. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? I'm just trying to be friendly. I'm not trying to sleaze my way into your pants.
Right.
Romance first. Let me at least put the date rape drug in your drink first. Jeez.
Exactly. Let me buy your drink so I can slip the rape drug in there.
But yeah, I've had girls actually say that to me. I've had, you know, some of my friends, well, not some of them, but I've had a few friends over the years where, yeah, they're a female and I'm a male and we're just talking, and one just out of nowhere says, I'm not interested in having sex with you. I'm like, could you rephrase that in a way that doesn't make me feel like a piece of shit?
Right.
Like, hey, I really value your friendship.
Now imagine if the gender.
I've had another girl say to me, yeah, you're not really boyfriend material.
Right. Right. And imagine like if the genders were reversed and started talking to a man anywhere. Like let's say she's in a hardware store and she needs help and she talks to an employee there and he goes, whoa, wait a second. She's like, you know, where can I find the hammers or something, right? And he'll be like, whoa, I'm married, dude. I don't want to have sex with you. You know, that to me is the same equivalent, because women can be so ridiculous. I mean, he's nowhere near talking about sex. He's nowhere near flirting with you, yet right away you think that he's a horn dog. Imagine if the genders were reversed this way, or women were paranoid, that guys would be thinking, oh crap, I better be careful what I say around guys.
Now,
Very
let me
true.
ask you this. How did you get into the men's movement? Where did your empathy for men really start, that you see them needing help as much as they do? Did we lose her?
I don't.
Rachel, your silence is only going to incriminate you.
It might. She might have frozen or something.
Possibly.
Yeah. I mean, what she was talking about. I've had the same situation, like when I was with my ex. You know, it didn't matter who messaged me. If it was a dude, you know, it was automatically like, he's trying to have sex with you. You know, and you know, that's why I'm glad I'm with Andrew now, because he knows that like talking to people is just part of like, you know, interacting and communicating and collaborating and all that good stuff. So yeah, you know, and obviously there are a lot of guys who do want to have sex with me, but that I mean, you know, they can say that like without necessarily being the only thing that we talk about, you know, like, you know, because I get compliments from friends all the time, and it's like, you know, thank you. I know. Yes.
Well, you know, as much as I do talk about your boobs, we talk about a lot of other things. So
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Rachel.
Oh yeah, I lost connection. Sorry about that.
not a
No
problem.
worries.
So what were you saying before we lost you?
Where did you lose me? Because my Wi-Fi is really horrible in Canada here. So
It was
You're
like right
talking
after you
about
started
a
talking.
hammer and a hardware store. Not like a good premise for a porno.
right, it was the beginning of a really bad porn. Right.
He asked you a question about how did you get started being a part of the men's movement? Where did your empathy for men come from?
That's probably a really long story. Well, I mean, for me, I've got a brother. I mean, I've got two brothers. I've got a father. I've got two sons. I also have a man that I really care about in my life, my husband. So, I mean, for me, actually, what happened was I was starting to feminist ideals, because I had friends that would try to tell me, you know, about equality, and we don't need to be housewives anymore. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I kind of like being a traditional woman. And that kind of got me interested in studying and looking at we're actually against feminism. Then when I met my husband and I found out he was into men's rights, I researched that as well, because there is a link to that. And researched it with him, I just got depressed about how men were being treated, and it made me kind of look at the men in my life and see, you know what, a lot of men that I know have gone through this, and I just never took the time to pay attention to it, which caused me to be even more depressed about it, because you become so absorbed in your own life as a woman sometimes because you're being catered to all the time. And so
Yeah.
that caused me to have more of a passion for it. And you know, when you have sons and when you have brothers and men in your life that you care about, you go, wow, what if somebody accused them of rape? What if you know, a woman, they married an abusive woman and they couldn't get help? What if they were homeless and couldn't get help? You know, those things, they start to really weigh in on your mind. And that's really what got me into it.
Now, I'd like to believe that motherhood, especially to having sons, would be enough to change any woman to open up to the idea that men need rights. But unfortunately,
Definitely.
we have too many articles on here about women who are complaining about their male sons being part of the patriarchy.
Right. Well, do you know, it's funny, when my first son was born, I had friends who would circumcise their sons, and I really didn't know what was involved with circumcision. And I would like to think that my activism in men's rights kind of started there, because after he was born, I asked the doctor, I said, doesn't he need to get circumcised? And as a parent, you just kind of go with the flow sometimes. You don't really research medical procedures. You don't really look into things. You're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. So you think, therefore, well, if everyone else is doing it, it must be good for my child. So I asked about it, and he just gave me a very strange look. He says, what, are you Jewish? And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, well, why would you circumcise him? I said, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? He says, no. He says, that's really a religious thing. So lucky for me, I came upon a doctor who wasn't really for it. He says, you know what? He says, why would you want to do that? He's going to bleed down there. Do you really want your son to bleed in his diaper? And I said, that's what happens? Like, that's how ignorant I was.
Wow.
I was so ignorant. I hadn't done any research on it. I'm like, really? I just thought, you know, you're taught that it's just like an extra layer of skin, kind of like clipping your fingernails. Why would you bleed? You know, it's just a piece of skin there. It's not even attached to you, really. Like, that's the mindset, because they keep telling you it's painless. So you have this imagery in your head that, well, maybe it's part of the penis that wouldn't really hurt if they cut it off. So the image of blood and all that doesn't come to mind. And so from there, I actually started researching circumcision, and that's kind of where it started, ironically. And another irony is that feminism actually brought me to men's rights. The fact that it just seemed kind of, you know, me being raised traditional and conservative and very religious, the way I was raised, but that's not our role as women. You don't do that.
You know, you are, well, your son most definitely, but you are very lucky that you had a doctor like that, because,
Yeah.
you know, I've done research into this myself, and there's actually a market for self from circumcision, that it can be used for a whole bunch of things, from medical research to even healthcare products. Even Oprah had a healthcare product made from the skin from circumcised penises.
Yep.
So there's like, and hospitals make money off of that. So it's amazing to me that you probably found the one good doctor that's like, yeah, really don't need to do it. It's not going to be a benefit.
Right.
So that,
Well, I mean,
some hope that there's some good doctors out there, but
well, I mean, this is a conservative area, which might make a difference as well. I'm not saying all conservatives are anti-circ, but I mean, this guy's done enough circumcisions to know what it entails and what the risks are, and he probably doesn't enjoy seeing babies in pain. And for him, I'm sure, like, he was older already. He must have been in his 50s. I mean, in his career, in his lifetime, he probably didn't see any benefit to it. They just kind of go with the flow too, and they just do, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Somebody asks, I'll do it for them. But I don't know. He didn't seem like he even cared for it. He actually seemed insulted. My son was actually born with club feet, so he needed surgery for his feet, and he needed casting processes done. It was very severe club feet. And he said, why would you put him through that too? He's already got the club feet. Why would you put him through circumcision?
Mm-hmm. Well, Snake Pliskin in the chat says that Rachel may be a unicorn and her husband is a lucky man.
Well,
I've talked to her husband on a few occasions, and I will say that he knows he's a lucky man to have such a great woman.
well, I try to be. I'm human like everybody else, though, so definitely not perfect. But I strive for it. I strive for it. I still piss him off from time to time, like taking too long in the bathroom or burning his supper or not cooking supper. We all do our things. Or if I nag him to stop playing video games, like, hey, it's 3 a.m. already, come on.
Come on, I want to have sex. I shouldn't have to beg
I'm
for
laying
sex.
here. Yeah, I'm laying here in my lingerie. I'm exhausted now. Forget about sex. No more sex tonight. Hey, babe, if you're watching this, I love you.
Diago, if you're watching this, I sort of love you.
Yeah.
And I like you as a man.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's just keep it that way.
Well, yeah.
Let's just be friends.
If only you saw the pictures I've got of him. They're pretty good.
Ooh.
Wouldn't want those leaking out.
I could give an objective opinion and not be like dicks of my life. I can give a comment on a dick.
Well, when I did the post, I was like, "Hey, babe, I could. I've got some really nice ones of you here." He's like, "Don't post those." I'm like, "Yeah, you get too many inboxes from the girls, I'm sure. Maybe a few guys too."
Well, from what I can see, he is a very good-looking man, and I can say that and be comfortable with my sexuality.
Well, I'll be
Because I'm
honest with you. I was surprised he even talked to me. I'm like, I mean, I had a crush on him for a long time. I saw him on Facebook for a while. We had mutual friends, and I was too scared to even add him as a friend because I thought, oh man, he's gonna think that I like him or something, And yet I was never scared to add anybody else. And I thought, but he's so hot. I don't know what I'll do. It was so weird. It was like, I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're 30 years old. Why are you panicking about this? You're acting like a little girl. But I was smitten, so.
I thought you were 23.
Actually, I'm much older than 30 right now. I just won't say.
Oh. Well, you don't look it.
I'm almost middle age already. What's that?
I said you don't look it at all.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm a couple of more years and I'll be 40. I'll put it that way. So, won't be long.
You're wearing it
So you're
well.
about as old as I am.
Yeah. Well, I was a 1980 baby, so you can put my age there somewhere. I actually.
So was I.
What's that?
So was I.
There you go. It's a good year to be born.
Mm-hmm. Well, something you just said kind of reminded me about the kid, and when you did the big reveal, something I saw a lot of men post about is they didn't want to post their picture. No one would compliment it.
Yep.
They didn't want to put themselves out there to be rejected. And,
right.
I remember when I put my picture on there, I was amazed that I got any likes at all. And I was super surprised when someone actually complimented me.
I'll be honest.
So,
I think every single man, I made a comment about it, and complete honesty, every single man that posted a picture has attractive traits unique to themselves. And like I've said before, there's women and a man out there for every woman. People have their types. I have my type, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to see attractiveness in other men as well. And I'm sure men feel the same way about women. They might have this type that turns their head every time, but yet we'll see attractiveness in several types of women.
Yeah, my type is Asian girls in school uniforms. Adult Asian women.
Right.
But I still find Vanessa and you attractive, so.
Well, Well, I mean, look at us, right?
Yeah.
Not that we're narcissistic at all. Well, at least I'm not, right?
You are a woman.
You know what, though? I mean, everyone should be a little bit, have a healthy level of narcissism. Like my husband says, everybody needs to have a healthy level of it, because you see too many people on a one end of the scale, either no confidence or too much confidence. But you kind of need to be in the middle there somewhere.
And that's something that we really try to tell men when they first come to the movement is, you need to learn to love yourself and not put so much of everything into a woman. And a lot of men do that because that's what we're taught to do, that we do not have value as men unless we have a woman in our lives. And, we need to, part of the empathy gap is to teach men that, you've got to be there for yourself first. And yeah, having a family and taking care of them is all well and great, but it doesn't mean anything if you're like, one sad moment away from just ending it all. You've got to take care of yourself first.
True. That's true, exactly. And I mean, that goes for women as well. When I was in high school, I remember a lot of my friends saying, acting like they were going to die if they didn't have a boyfriend. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to find a man and settle down and get married and have kids soon. And I mean, there's more to life than that. Like I did say, I'm traditional and I like to be conservative and I like to be like the housewife, walking around in my apron and nothing but my apron. But but I mean, there's more to life. Work on yourself before looking for somebody, because Thiago and I were actually talking about this, is that we were talking about this morning, is that people need to learn to love themselves. You can't love somebody if they don't love themselves. And so you got to figure out.
I'm sorry, I stopped listening to you when you said apron.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people do need to learn to love themselves. And it's so ironic to me. I don't know about Canada, but in the United States, we had this whole positivity movement, which definitely failed, because we have, even more men who have such self-esteem issues. Failed. It didn't work. All it did was empower women to feel more about themselves and to ignore everyone else.
Yeah.
And we really do need to teach our children and our friends that, not that you're special and you can do anything, but that you're a valuable person in other people's lives. And that, maybe people don't compliment you all the time, but they do care about you.
Yeah.
Start helping men a lot more into boosting their self-esteem. So maybe we can start reducing the mental health issues and the suicide rate.
That's right. Well, I mean,
it's not going to be one. Go ahead.
Part of that too is the whole family court system too. That's kind of, I see the most depression from men after they lose their wife and children, is where I see it the most. But yeah, that's part of it too. But like I said, I mean, as women sometimes, and I'm not trying to knock women. I think sometimes we're just so used to being the center of attention, even from when we're little girls. Daddy calls us a princess. Daddy gives us whatever we want. We just have to give the pouty face. We're so used to having all the attention centered on us that we don't really see the man who's suffering beside us. Because every time we enter any kind of a problem in our life, we actually don't know how to handle it half the time, and we dramatize it and magnify and say, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is awful. Meanwhile, this guy is drowning in problems. And we have this little issue that we nitpick about, and we don't see it. And so that contributes to the suicide rates too, is that people just don't pay attention, or even if he does ask for help, they just think, well, you're a man, suck it up. Suck it up. You've got, you're supposed to be the strong one, don't act like a woman. That's pretty sad.
Well, it's also sad that, anytime help is trying to be given to men, it's like, well, they're in a position of power. They have privilege. They have all of these things, and women have nothing and need to have it given to them. And in fact, recession in the United States, there was a bill that was introduced to give financial support to men because men were proportionately and homeless during the recession, and women were more likely to have jobs than men were. So they wanted to introduce this bill to give money to men to help them out. And then feminist groups got involved and said that the bill was sexist, that it only favored men and did not help women at all. And by the end of it, all the bill did was help women.
Right.
Like an initiative to help men, and it got twisted to the point that it only helped women.
Typical, isn't it? They know how to make an issue of something that really, I mean, they like to turn it, a lot of women, I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women like to turn everything onto themselves and say, well, whoa, no, we need it more. No, you guys don't need anything. It's us. We're the ones that are oppressed. Because like I said, the whole feminist movement has taught women that we are oppressed, that, well, come on, men are the rapists, men are the abusers. What do they need help for? We need the resources more than they do. And if you look at, I mean, there's a Canadian, I don't know about how the American websites are for, I know like there's welfare, food stamp programs, there's help for women. In Canada, if you look up on the government website and you see the programs available for women versus the programs for men, it's a huge difference. I think for every at least 20 programs that there are for men, I mean, sorry, for women, there's probably one for men. And the ones for men tend to be centered around aggression, like if you have road rage, or if you have alcoholism, or if you beat on your spouse, stuff like that, whereas women's programs are more centered on like financial aid, if you want to go back to school type of stuff, or if you need affordable housing, things like that. It's pretty sad. And a lot of the time, a man will not have the extra help to go back to school unless he ends up in jail, where they have rehabilitation programs.
And that's actually true here in the United States as well. In fact, when Donald Trump first got into office, he signed a bill that gave money to women entering STEM fields.
Right.
Which really pissed me off because women have so many options on getting money or college, and men have next to none. And to even suggest that men need something is sexist.
Wow.
So what we need, I guess, is the more money to give to women for something that they don't want to do to begin with.
Well, exactly. Hi there. I have a new neighbor here. He just moved in, so hi, I'm just on video chat here. Hi. Pleased to meet you. Hold on, I'm just going to say hello. I'm video chatting with some friends here. Pleased to meet you. I'm Rachel.
Live.
Rod Smith? Rachel, yes. Well, I hope you enjoy your new place. Yeah, I hear you. Now spring there always is, right? Well, we got trees. We got trees everywhere. Beware of the branches. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. They do need to be trimmed. I did have a guy here come, and I don't think he understood exactly which branches. He did the ones above on the ceiling here, but he didn't do these, which really need to be done. I'll have to have him come by again, and this time I'll be home to tell him what needs to be done.
I still don't know any of my neighbors, really.
Well, that might work. That would work. Yeah, because, I mean, there's a fire pit here, and yeah. All right, nice meeting you. Yeah, he moved in just a couple of days ago. We have quite a few people moving in and out around the neighborhood, so haven't met him yet.
So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up. We're kind of past our usual time that we do our show, so we usually go for 90 minutes. So,
Right.
final things that you want to say while you're on topics that we've talked about?
I mean, I think we covered most of it. I just, really, I have a concern, and I mean, I can't save the whole world through Facebook, but I would like women to know that sometimes we do focus on ourselves too much. I still do it, you know, even though I'm aware of men's issues. And I know women have issues too. We do, and I'm really happy that we have the resources we need when there are problems. But I just wish that it could be the same for men. And feminists want to fight for equality. True equality would be if the men had just as many resources as the women did. Just for me. I would just like to tell every woman out there that feels oppressed that, hey, there's probably twice as many men as you think there are that are even more oppressed than you are, you know. So I can't make people have empathy. I can't make people see it, but we really need to show. I know I can't do a whole lot through the movement. I'm quite busy as a mom, but even just posting the articles that people do, it does make people aware. I've seen people change by reading these things, by reading the statistics on abuse and rape, and that men are victims as well. So, I mean, it's a good start, and that's really all I have to add to it. But, I mean, you did a really good job of bringing up those graphs from the post that I did make.
Yeah, like I said, just an excuse to use Excel.
Right.
Well, anytime I see a math problem, I want to solve it. Fortunately, I don't know higher level math, so I can not do every single one I see, but... Okay, Vanessa, is there anything you want to shill other than your Amazon wish list that you've been spamming the chat with?
Yeah, check that out for sure. But other than that, you know, you can follow me on Twitter, Vanessa W. Cheese, and follow my Facebook pages for Modern Medusa and Vanessa's Custom Art. All my shit's down in the description, so you can just click on those, and you'll find me.
Vanessa's tired, so everyone give her a break. But we do have a show next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, as usual.
Yes.
We're going to start doing things at 6 p.m., although it seems like it's Vanessa's bedtime right now, so maybe we should do it earlier.
Hey, it's just because I've gotten really not any sleep the past few days.
I know how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah, definitely check out her links down below. My links are also down below, but also go and check out my channel. Like I said, it's been revoked for 90 days from live streaming, but I am still uploading things to it as much as I can. When you check out my videos, check out the description box down below. It has my Twitter account. It has I believe it has my Minds account as well. So definitely follow those. Also check out my Patreon. I am trying to raise money for myself, primarily to get health insurance and to be able to take care of myself since I can't work, but also to get a better computer, because this one, you know, I thought I found a suicide note on my computer somewhere. I think my computer left it.
Yeah.
So it's on its way out. But I do need a new computer so I can make better videos for all of you. If you're not comfortable doing Patreon, perfectly understandable. You will also see my book down below that. the first one is free to download. The second one just comes like immediately after the first story, and that's $2.99. Buying those actually helped me out a lot because it puts me higher in search results. And if you leave a review, if you like it, that also helps me as well. So truthfully, between Patreon and my book, I'd rather get more money for my book because that means I've actually earned the money. But, you know, Patreon's nice because I also do these videos. But yes, if you're in a donating mood, definitely check out my stuff because I really do need help. Beyond that, do you have Twitter, Rachel? Because we were kind of wondering that.
You know, I do have Twitter, but I think I have to clean out all the cobwebs there because I haven't been on Twitter in so long. I'm very good at starting and not finishing things. You know, I'm all or nothing. Either I dive into it or I don't do it at all. But I do have a Twitter, yes. It's Lady Patriarchy.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, so check out Rachel at Lady Patriarchy, and maybe one day she'll visit there.
I might have to now. I probably have no choice.
Yes, give her a reason to come back to Twitter. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rachel, for coming out. We definitely enjoyed having you, and you're always welcome to come back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, as always, I am Dix.
And boobs. You got it right.
Yay. Everyone have a good night.
Bye.